What is your accidentally caught your spouse cheating story? I'd been married to my wife Lisa for 8 years when I accidentally discovered she was having an affair, and the way I found out was so random it still blows my mind. It was a Thursday afternoon in March. I work construction and we got sent home early because of heavy rain. Usually I'd call Lisa to let her know I was coming home, but my phone was dead and I left my charger in my buddy's truck. No big deal, right? I just surprised her. I pulled into our driveway around 2 p.m. and noticed this silver BMW parked across the street. Nice car, but I'd never seen it in our neighborhood before. I figured someone was visiting the elderly couple who lived there. Our house was quiet when I walked in. Lisa's car was in the garage, so I knew she was home. She worked from home doing bookkeeping for small businesses, so finding her at her computer wouldn't be unusual. I kicked off my muddy boots by the front door and called out, "Hey babe, I'm home early," but got no response. The TV wasn't on, which was weird because Lisa always had background noise while she worked. I walked through the living room toward her home office, expecting to find her with headphones on, deep in some spreadsheet. But her office was empty. Computer was off, chair pushed in neatly. That's when I heard it. Muffled voices coming from upstairs. At first I thought she might be on a work call, but something about the tone seemed off. Too quiet, too intimate. I started climbing the stairs, not trying to be sneaky, just curious. The voices got clearer as I reached the top. Lisa's voice, and a man's voice I didn't recognize. My stomach started doing flips, but I told myself there had to be a logical explanation. Maybe she was helping someone with their taxes, or her brother had stopped by unexpectedly. Our bedroom door was slightly open. I could see movement inside, shadows on the wall. That's when I heard Lisa laugh in a way I hadn't heard in months, light and flirty. I pushed the door open a little more and saw them. Lisa was sitting on our bed in just her bra and underwear. Next to her was this guy I'd never seen before, probably in his early 40s, partially undressed, running his hand through her hair. They were so focused on each other that they didn't notice me standing there. I watched for maybe 5 seconds, completely frozen, trying to process what I was seeing. The guy leaned in to kiss her neck, and Lisa closed her eyes, tilting her head back with this expression of pure bliss. It hit me like a truck. This wasn't a mistake or a moment of weakness. They looked comfortable together, like this had been going on for a while. I backed away from the door quietly, my heart pounding so hard I thought they might hear it. I made it to the stairs before my legs almost gave out. Had to grab the railing to steady myself. I went back downstairs and just stood in our living room, staring at our wedding photos on the mantle, trying to figure out what to do next. Part of me wanted to storm back up there and confront them. Part of me wanted to just leave and pretend I never saw anything. Instead, I grabbed my phone charger from the kitchen and plugged it in. Once my phone had enough battery, I took pictures of that silver BMW, including the license plate. Then I sat in my truck across the street and waited. About 40 minutes later, the guy came out of our house. He was wearing a suit, looking like he was heading back to some office job. Lisa walked him to the door in her bathrobe, gave him a long kiss goodbye, and waved as he got in the BMW. I followed him for about 10 minutes until he pulled into the parking lot of a law firm downtown. I wrote down the address and the name of the firm. When I got back home, Lisa was in the kitchen making coffee like nothing had happened. She was fully dressed, hair perfectly styled, acting completely normal. "Hey honey," she said, giving me a kiss on the cheek. "How was work? I thought you'd be home later." I told her we got rained out early, watching her face for any sign of guilt or panic. Nothing. She just nodded and asked if I wanted coffee. "I noticed a BMW parked across the street earlier," I said casually. "Nice car. Know whose it is?" "No idea," she shrugged. "Probably someone visiting the neighbors." She lied to my face without missing a beat. That's when I realized this whole thing was way more calculated than I'd initially thought. Over the next week, I did some investigating. Turns out the BMW belonged to David Miller, a divorce attorney from that law firm downtown, married with 2 kids. Lisa had been doing bookkeeping for his practice for the past 6 months. I hired my own divorce lawyer and had Lisa served with papers 3 weeks later. The look of shock on her face when the process server showed up was almost worth 8 years of marriage down the drain. During the divorce proceedings, I found out Lisa and David had been planning to leave their spouses and move in together. She'd already been apartment hunting and had opened a separate bank account. The affair had been going on for 4 months. All those late nights she claimed to be working on his books? Yeah, she was working on something, but it wasn't spreadsheets. David's wife found out when my lawyer contacted their law firm about the affair. She divorced him too and got custody of their kids. Lisa kept trying to convince me it was just a mistake, that she never meant for it to happen. But I'd seen how comfortable they looked together. You don't get that comfortable in a few weeks. The worst part wasn't even the cheating. It was how easily she lied to me afterward. How she could kiss me goodbye every morning knowing she was planning a whole new life behind my back. If I hadn't come home early that day, I probably would have found out when she served me with divorce papers and moved out with David. At least this way, I got to control the situation instead of being blindsided. Sometimes the universe gives you exactly what you need to see, even when you're not looking for it.